All right. So the first question is, can you please give me a 1-minute summary of your business, organization, or the type of work that you do?
The work I do is typically termed executive coaching. So I work as an executive coach, but the specific approach I take is I have an aspiration that's part of my business, and I aspire to provide the experience of flow for others to flourish. So it's interesting to me that how this ties in, it just connects completely to the future of flourishing.
And who is your target audience? Who do you sell to?
Yeah, the target audience is mostly corporate leaders. And for the last 2 years, I've also been working with military leaders in the Air Force, particularly. So it's all leadership people, a diverse group of people, men, women, etc., all the diversity things we think about as far as diversity characteristics. And it's all about how they are able to achieve their goals and their own aspirations.
And what problem were you trying to solve when you enrolled in Flourish?
I didn't have a problem that had me enroll because of the work I'm doing and originally coming out of corporate America. I have had the experience of working as a corporate leader and in the zone, which I consider the same thing as flourishing. And so I wanted to be with like-minded people. If I had to solve a problem, it was being with more like-minded people. So that's what connected me.
So based off of that answer, why did you choose to participate in Flourish as opposed to an alternative course or program?
About 1.5 years ago, I somehow came across Claire, and from that conversation that we had, we got to know each other well enough that when she left FRC and started Future of Flourishing, we were still in conversation. So I knew that what she wanted to do was provide a future of flourishing with a target market of intercorporations to make a difference in how business is done. And so I stayed with that, and we're still working together that way.
And how has your experience been like participating in Flourish?
It really has been excellent. And the reason is because the conversation is so geared, the content and the conversation by Claire, as well as all the participants, is so much of it is geared toward organizations and making a difference, and what can happen to make a difference in the way we do business, correct what we've done, what we've got wrong in business, if I had to say it that way. And so that's why it's really made a difference, because I've been immersed in learning from other folks on how they've approached the same issue.
So just to elaborate on that answer, how do you think that a Flourish helps address those gaps in business?
Yeah, in one way, one of the biggest gaps, just one example is when folks are working, they most often separate their personal life and their work life. And one of the things that this course does, and what my way of living when I had my own experience, is that the seamlessness of personal and work life. And when that becomes seamless, we're aligned. Our creativity and our innovation and our ability to connect with people completely changes. And that's when organizational outcomes can really have exponential outcomes instead of linear approach to working.
So how do you see Flourish benefiting corporations, for example, from the employee or workforce context?
Yeah, there's a complete connection to leadership and how corporations can themselves flourish, much less the individuals in them, and how the neuroscience and brain science on how people connect and work. So understanding, trusting in that if we do our part as leaders, all the brain science takes care of itself, and how outcomes are influenced by the way we lead. And when we're connected to our ability to flourish, things around us change.
Can you think of a single word or a phrase that summarizes your experience in Flourish, and why that word in particular?
Yeah, I would say thorough in the sense that it provides a complete understanding of what all the science behind flourishing, much less the value and the reality that it's learnable and it's a human, it's an innate human capacity, so so we can trust that it can happen to me too.
And what specific results have you achieved so far from Flourish?
Well, in the coaching that I'm doing, I've used incorporate a lot of the things from it, and especially the part of the last part, this whole notion of the 4 stages of flow, and how when we move from struggle to release to flow to recovery, how, because most people, when we think of struggle or think I'm struggling, think I'm just struggling, as opposed to that it really is the first part of the flow cycle, and that when we find our way to release, we can get into flow and the creativity that comes from it, the outcomes. And a great example is, we can in the evening, at the end of a day, we're thinking of a problem we have, and when we go to sleep and wake up, we have the answer. That sleep represents release. And it can also, after working for having a good day, sleep can also certainly acts as recovery. So just the trust that when I'm struggling, I'm really in the first step of the flow cycle, and and trusting in that, I think helps people relax into the what seems like a challenge when we're in struggle.
And why would you say it is important for organizations to implement these sort of models and frameworks within their work?
Yeah, when employees in an organization are flourishing, innovation, creativity, connection to the vision and mission are all get embodied throughout the organization in what I call through alignment, down to the lowest, from the highest level to the lowest level of people, so that they can connect accordingly based on their job description. And when that happens, corporations achieve exponential outcomes.
Are you personally happy with the results you achieved from Flourish, and did the program meet your expectations?
Yeah, at the very beginning of our conversation, I've met a whole host of like-minded people who are working on have the same aspiration in a similar way, and then I've taken the knowledge and applied it. Yeah.
And if someone were to call you and ask why they should enroll in Flourish, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I would tell them, because flourishing is an innate human capacity, that whatever they are and can connect to the concept of them flourishing, it will happen.
Would you say that the investment in Flourish is worthwhile, and why?
Yeah, I mean, it really is a small amount of time when we think about investment of our time for the outcome that can happen, because the outcome is exponential as opposed to just an incremental step forward, because flourishing itself is creation and creativity and joy and happiness, all those things that are contained in the idea of flourishing. What
was your favorite part about your Flourish experience?
Yeah, to me, it was being in the hour and a half sessions, and the conversation and talking with like-minded people, and how that can be leveraged for my benefit and for theirs.
And what would you say are what challenges do you see on the horizon for others, for example, for other organizations experiencing the same or similar problems? And how do you see Flourish helping them with that?
Yeah, I think the challenge is that the folks, whoever's at the top, you literally, the CEO and C-suite people have to believe in it, and they have to take the first step, because it will happen for them. And once that happens, they not only believe it, they're coming from that place when it expands throughout an organization. So the challenge is that the C-suite people who often think, if they're doing well, think they know everything they need to know, and so it's trusting in that there's another step forward, another opportunity, because of how we've come to know what flourishing is. Yeah.
And what would you say is the main point of difference between Flourish versus other well-being or personal development programs out on the market?
One way I can say it is everything out there is kind of a linear thing. It's just step by step by step. So it can often be a brute force. It's whereas Flourish, Future Flourishing approaches it completely from the point of neuroscience, which when we connect to the science of it, we can have exponential outcomes, and that's a difference.
And what results can organizations expect by exposing their workforce to the content taught in Flourish?
Well, the kind of results they can expect is I would say, a more joyful approach. And see, when it happened to me, I was happy and I was making my numbers. Keep it simple. And in corporations, achieving their vision and mission while attracting great talent, having retention, those kinds of and the collegialness of folks working together for innovation that is part of achieving their mission. All that happens, and so that's the real benefit to a corporation.
And to wrap it up, in your opinion, what would you say, what does flourishing mean within a corporate context?
If it were me, it would be what I just said. You know, I was happy and making my numbers. And but today it's the extension. It's organizations that are achieving what they want, but also contributing to the larger community. That's a natural extension of the way organizations will conduct business given their flourishing.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Lena.